So we were very happy to welcome Southern Avenue to the Music Preserve stage this afternoon. They killed it today as usual, so hope you didn't miss their set.
Thank you.
So we'll start off talking about, family. I guess you guys were our sisters, and tell us a little bit how did you grow up in music? Was your family musical? And let's.
Yeah, we definitely. My mom plays organ, my dad plays guitar, and they're heavily devoted to the church. So, the majority of our childhood was spent singing gospel music, learning, in the church choir and everything. So, that's definitely where we got our music from. Our first.
I mean, yeah, we have the same. No, mom. So I just for as long as I can remember, I've been like since my mom's the organist. She's at every choir rehearsal, and my aunt was the choir director, and she would let me sneak in the back. So for as long as I remember, I've been in church, singing, the gospel, and it's there's an amazing energy in like the church culture that you get there, and that you don't really get from anywhere else, and it always just made me excited. It's very, and yeah.
It's amazing, how so many artists came up through the church, and I love that this is still like the way some you guys are coming up, like through the church. So it's a tradition. That's a long tradition of coming up through the church and singing R&B, singing some soul music that came out of the church. So you guys are based in Memphis, right? But you're not all from Memphis, right? We got some. You guys are from Memphis.
I moved to Israel from Israel to Memphis 6 years ago, and Evan, our bass player, lives in Atlanta, and in Memphis basically, but in Atlanta. And yeah, I kind of relocated in 2013 and ended up after a few years meeting them. But yeah, we're barely in Memphis. When we see people, they ask us, "We're gonna come to Memphis and see you." We say, "We're not there." You should come to New Orleans. You'll probably see us play more. But we're all in Memphis a lot, and we love it there.
I have seen you guys in New Orleans, so yeah, you guys do play in New Orleans a lot, yeah. So what about you?
I'm from Memphis. Yeah, Memphis. Yes, born and raised.
So Memphis also has a long history, and Stax Records. I think the name of your band has something to do. Is it the street?
Yeah, it's the street that leads to Stax. It's not the prettiest street in Memphis. Let me tell you that. It's the train street, where the train goes by. But that's us, We're, it doesn't get more us that street than.
That's where the band name came about.
Yeah.
When he used to live near that street, and we used to have rehearsal over there, and we also there was a lot of writing taking place early on, and so when we came up with the band name, that's where it came from. So Southern Avenue, we were birthed there.
Yeah.
And the tradition of Stax, that's pretty amazing as well, to have that as part of your, identity in a way, because people probably associate you guys anyway with that music, but the name just sort of, puts a stamp on it, like, yeah, this is who we are,
The deal with the whole Stax thing, the reason why it's special to me, because we were growing up, we weren't allowed to listen to Stax. We weren't allowed to listen to anything but gospel. But the fact that we have a regional sound where people hear us and they relate us to like all these great artists, to such a legendary, name, Stax, it makes me feel good, that we're a part of something great, and we're not like replicating it, but it's just something that people relate us to, and I love that, because I didn't know who Stax was until I was like 17.
Crazy, huh?
Even growing up in Memphis, yeah. This is why they need to teach cultural history in schools.
Amen.
It's because if you grow up in Memphis, you should know that. You should be taught that in schools. So who are you guys' biggest influences?
Man, it's hard. We've all have different influences.
Let's go down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up listening to blues and rock and roll and British rock and a lot of jazz, since I'm 5 or 6. Thanks to my dad's music collection and his love for music. Um, everybody has their influences. The cool thing, before I just let the microphone go to everybody, is that because we're so different from one another, I think we have this thing that we don't sound like a lot of other bands, and it's good and bad. It's just it's a fact, and I think that it's so cool. When I came to Memphis and I talked to Tyranny, and I told her. When I met her after, long story short, I told her that she's the best blues singer that I've ever heard in my life, and she's gonna basically. We don't have that in blues, and usually singers like her do other stuff. So I said, if you do blues, then you have no idea what you're gonna do. And then when she introduced me to TK, I was like, hold on, you're gonna be the like the blues doesn't have drummers and singers, and she plays everything like TK. So I think that that's just something. And then the influences, they didn't know Muddy Waters was, or things that for me and us, or Jeremy did, of course. I'm talking about the girl, because Jeremy grew up 2 streets off of Stacks, and he's a crazy boy. He was all over the streets. He knows everything. But the girls were very well kept, kind of, in sheltered.
Long story short, the parents were ministers and you can say pastoring a church. And normally when that happens, your entire schedule is already church, church, church. So,
But they do it on purpose.
Yeah.
They're like Friday from 6 to 11.
and listen, you wouldn't think that there would be an excuse to spend that much time there, but apparently, Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in synagogue, just not. But yeah.
So my influences are from blues, jazz, and funk. I love Herbie Hancock, love Ray Charles, and so far, what's the guy named Corey Henry? I love the way he plays.
Yeah, Corey.
Yeah, Corey's awesome. But those are my biggest influences so far.
I'd say my biggest influences. Well, first off, it would have to be my brother. He was like the first person I ever watched, and I was just mesmerized. But a lot of gospel artists like the Clark sisters or like Kirk Franklin, a lot of this music, that's kind of where I indulged when I was coming up. And then when I got older, I was introduced to people like, and then y'all getting me with the names, no. But it's funny because we're so much older now, and so I'm late to the game, you could say, but also at the same time, I'm like becoming more inspired. So in a sense, we're like her and I, like we share this in common, like we're evolving in a way because we get to experience all this music in a new way, whereas everybody's already had it for a long time, and so. Yeah.
Hey, so if I had to pick like 2 or 3 like musical influences, it would probably, in no order, probably be like Stevie Wonder, Miles Davis, and Jimi Hendrix. That was probably just like everything in between. And then for personal influence, like my father was a jazz musician, so I was always like surrounded by musicians, like coming through the house, rehearsing, like going to his like gigs and just seeing how like, how you play. And then down in Atlanta, I was around Colonel Bruce Hampton a lot, who like just teaches you another way to look at like traditional music. Is like, because he's a blues guy. He's like, Bobby Blue Bland was his guy, and Jackie Wilson, but he would kind of like turn it on its head, so you always have to like be ready for anything. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh. No, my influences, like I said, we come from the church. Most of my influences come from the church, but like the only way that I could listen to other music, like I would get through it with the documentaries, like the Michael Jackson movie. He was my first. He made me just want to sing, and then there was Selena. She made me want to dance, but because Mike was a fan of James Brown. I went and looked up James Brown, and I was obsessed with James Brown. And then there was Mariah Carey. She was an amazing songwriter, and she made me want to write. So I started trying to write before I could spell, and it was terrible. But still, I just kept writing. And so those are just a few of my musical influences. And then when I was around 10 or 11, I discovered Billie Holiday, and she's just an all-time favorite. Yeah, yeah. So ever since then, I love jazz. But those are like the big names. And Beyonce. Yeah. Yeah. So that's about it.
I love that it goes from Billie Holiday to Beyonce. I love it. And you know, a theme that I've noticed when I'm been interviewing people is that a lot of times when I ask them that their parents had records or something, their parents were into jazz. Like you're in Israel, but somehow you were introduced to it because your parents had it in the house. So that's one way people that we can keep this music going is to play it in the house. You know, I personally play music all day long in the house, but I just interviewed John Mayall, and he was influenced because his dad had jazz records in the house. So it's been happening forever, and I love that you know you guys are influenced by either the church or having record music in the house. So I think we're going to put it out for the audience right now to ask questions of Southern Avenues. So raise your hand if you have a question.
All right, conveniently located.
I played with these kids.
All right.
Not played, just had fun with these kids on the blues cruise in October.
What's your name, Ann?
Marna. And I want to know, how did you all get together? The melding is so
Tinder.
perfect.
Literally.
I want to know how you got together.
Well, first of all, thank you. I moved to Memphis with a band of Israelis, my band, and after 2 years of touring, no, I'm not gonna tell the real. I'm kidding. I two things. A, I felt like I'm stuck musically, and B, I was in personal situation that was really got me down. And as you know, I'm on an artist visa, so music is the only thing I could do. So it was very, very complicated. And I asked a musician at the time, that I played with, asked him who's the best singer in Memphis because I gotta change things up. So he said Tierney Jackson, and then I watched a video on YouTube and I saw her dance and do all that for like hip hop and stuff like that, and I was like, damn. So I called her, and she was way too expensive. So I called my mom. And I said, Mom, you gotta help me with this. And she said, come back home, just come home. I said, no. Yeah. So, you know, I hired her. And then when we met for practice or first kind of session, she told me about her sister being a drummer. And I asked how old she is. And she said she's 19. And I was like, wow. I don't think she can come to the clubs we play. I don't think. But then, of course, that she showed me a video or on her Facebook or something, and I was like, oh my God. So we met, both of us, and we met for practice for my solo band, and we connected very well. And me and Tierney wrote songs for my solo band. I hired her as a songwriter, not just a performer. And after a few months, quickly, I realized, but we all realized, that this is way bigger than Ori Naftali brand or project. And I thought that, this, I just realized is what we got. And I realized that if we all contribute, if we become a team, you won't be able to take us down. And knowing, like, I'm a team player, I'm not a solo guy. I never wanted to have a solo career. It's a lonely world out there. So when I realized I have the right team to do it, I felt like it's from above. And I wrote Don't Give Up. I wrote just before meeting the girls, asking God, like, why whatever happened to me. And the answer was this. And Southern Avenue is a sacrifice. Southern Avenue is where everybody started. Instead of Ori paying everybody, it became everybody, pay themselves. And that created a sacrifice that made us stronger as friends and as a team. We've been through things in 2 or 3 years that people don't go through in a lifetime. And I think that because everybody feels this is theirs, then the sacrifice is just worth it. And you know, once you take one of these pieces out, it won't be the same. And you know, and that creates a sound that you can replicate. Again, whether you like it or not, that's very subjective. But that's what I'm proud of. You know, I don't think we're the best. I just think that we have something that we created that is unique, and it's a legacy that will stay after when we're dead and gone. Basically. Oh, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Not too much accent on this one, huh, Anthony?
That's a wonderful answer and to a great question. And it looked like we had a couple other questions out here. All right. See, front of the classroom, kids.
A couple of things. The first trivia question is, which one lives the closest to Elvis Presley's mansion?
Who?
Elvis. Elvis. Who?
I'm kidding.
I know he's a little bit before your time, but Elvis Presley is the king of rock and roll.
He the king of somebody.
Next question.
Okay, ironically, we literally pass Elvis Presley almost every day, but definitely every Sunday on our way to church. Because our church was literally in Whitehaven in the same neighborhood.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
we always saw everybody coming in for Elvis Week, you know.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was born in the same neighborhood, but but I think he lives the closest now because we're all out in the suburbs.
We all moved to the suburbs because we just need, you know, Memphis is tough. But he grew up 2 minutes from there. Memphis is not that big, so you know, we're all close.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The other comment is the girls are extraordinarily gorgeous. And what made you, the one on the left, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, that became a the only hot drummer, the only hot drummer is Sheila Ida I'm aware of. So.
Well, thank you. What was you said? What made me want to become a drummer? Well, so growing up, everybody was doing something in my family, and I wanted to like have my own thing, I guess you could say. And when I saw my brother play drums, I was like, that's it. Because I started out playing piano, and I loved it, but like I wanted more. I wanted something else. I wanted to try something different. So I sat at home, and I tried out his kit for the first time, and he heard me messing around, and he was pretty impressed. So he showed me some things, and then I was just obsessed from then. And like nobody had to tell me to practice. I was always playing. Like people had to tell me to like stop. Like we're trying to sleep, you know. But I guess that's what you could say. And then the Nikki Glaspie, I saw her play with Beyonce in 2008, the Beyonce Experience, and that's when I was like, okay, I want to perform. Like I want to do this for real, for real. So to answer your question.
All right, wonderful. We have another question right here for you.
First of all, you guys are just awesome, and
Thank
that's the face of New Blues and very eclectic sound and everything. But I got to ask those that have minister parents, what do your parents think of you now? If they heard you, if this is too personal, but I'd be so impressed, right?
At first, there was a lot of arguments and like disowning, but now we just kind of avoid the conversation. They don't come to the shows, but they're still supportive in a way that like they'll watch my kids while we travel, but we just don't really discuss it. And every time we see each other, they're still like, come to church, give your life to God, you know, but it used to be very like demeaning, and they used to speak very negatively of like the lifestyle and the genre of music that we chose. But now they just avoid that side of it and just try to encourage us to be saved.
I gotta say something because she lives her life, and I see their life from the side. And one time, Tierney, we got a cover photo in the local Memphis, but it was Tierney's face, and her mom heard about it from people, and she came to me. She was like, "Ori, can you get me that newspaper?" And I said, "Of course."
That's me.
So. I think that her parents are being very respectful to their parents, you know, and their family, and they can't show how much, it's just like a super orthodox family, and like it's just from my world. There's so much into Jesus that you can't move them away from there. But
I just do want to give a shout out to my parents. No, they're definitely, they taught us everything we know as far as like playing from the heart, and really, my mom was the first person that I got to be next to and just witness like the spirit of God move through her. So for them, I respect them believing so strongly in their religion, because it's shown me, like you can believe in something and stand on something and still, get through and still go through. So even though they may not be, in the front row, like they love us, y'all.
They gave us a lot.
All right, we have another question here for you. Go ahead and introduce yourself, if you would, and your show.
Hello. My name is John Ford, and I have a local radio show on Laguna Beach KX 935. And the first thing that came to my mind is like, when are you coming back again? And will you please come on my show? And
we're playing Hotel Cafe in LA in August, and in Mammoth also. And you have no idea how much we love it out here. I mean, we love it.
Spread the word.
And we would love to come back. And the thing is, it's a very lonely journey. So the more friends we make, and the more we feel like we do it, there's a reason for us doing what we do, because we sacrifice so much. Then we feel like it's worth it. So, yeah, we'll see you.
It's definitely worth it for us. Well, you guys played the greatest set, and I was so energized after it that
thank you.
I had you sign a CD for my wife, who couldn't be here today, but no. So we're gonna go on to the next question. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. And his show is AM Radio on KX 93.5 FM. All right, do we have another question? Will you marry me? Whoa, we got marriage proposals going on. Were you talking to me or her? All right, go ahead and introduce yourself.
No, he's not.
Hi, my name's Jonah Harris, and I'm like 17 years old right now, and I'm planning on being a musician. I'm going to graduate high school in like 3 weeks. And I just find myself torn between different music influences, because I didn't grow up with something as like consistent as the church. I discovered a lot of music through what my mom was playing, but also through like just the internet and such. So I was just wondering if you had any advice on where to lay with songwriting, because you said like Billie Holiday and then you went right to Beyonce, and I have that thing where I'm playing jazz on one day, and the next day I'm playing like rock, and the next day I'm playing blues, and then I'm writing pop music. And so like I was just wondering if you had any advice for how to get those all in the one place and take all those energies and inspirations and like write with them.
So first of all, you gotta play you, and the way you do that is you just keep writing as much as you can every day. Whether one day you write a pop song, one day you write a jazz song, you just have to just keep writing until you find who you are as an artist. And you can throw all those influences into one. It might be kind of crazy, but that's how you create something new. You just kind of have to find who you are and then embrace who you are and believe in it and keep going. And it's not going to be easy. How old are you?
17.
Expect a lot of no's, and that's okay, because everything's going to be wrong until you hit the right thing. So just don't give up.
I first of all, I really appreciate, I really relate to what you're saying, because I love blues and I love jazz and I love rock and funk. I don't know, I just love a lot of different classical music. And the thing is that you're at a point where if I would ask you, what do you want to do in your life? A job. Like, what job would you do? You're not in a position to answer that at 17. You're in a position to acquire as many tools as you can to be able at the age of 30 to do what you want. Yeah. Right now, you need to get tools to your toolbox. Songwriting, producing, recording, playing, socializing, all of that, social media, all this stuff. So now, I would not even worry, and I think you already got that, but everybody tells you, oh, just do you. Like, or but what you need to focus on is recognizing what tools you have right now and what tools you're lacking, but also focus on your on your strengths and not your weaknesses, because obviously you have a lot of strengths, things you do very, very well, and things you feel like you're not doing as well. But I wouldn't worry about the thing you're not doing as well, only because you're 17. So at 22, where would you be? At 25, at 30. So it's like, then you can decide. Like, the same way you don't decide about a college degree, in my opinion, at least at 17, because you're not qualified for that. But I'm so happy that, somebody who is here in the blues festival, you're in the blues festival right now, and you love all these other genres. And the thing is about blues is that blues is the roots for all American music. Yeah. What is an American music? What is American music? Not like actual American roots music. So I think blues is it. Blues is Billie Holiday and Beyonce. We play a Beyonce song that is basically blues. Like, it's all the same. So the fact you realize it makes me just like kind of feel good. I don't know.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
But
why don't you tell the crowd what you're going to be doing with the remainder of your day, or at least into the evening?
So I'll just be staying around, and then I actually got the tickets through like my high school band program. So I'll be doing a meet and greet with Johnny Lang later on. She'll be real fun.
Through your friends at
was it Music Preserve?
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's one of our programs that we're doing is as we're interviewing artists and historians, but we're also taking some local high school kids backstage to meet artists. Yesterday, kids got to meet Almond Betts Band, and that was really, really great. So thank you all. You guys were awesome and amazing, and we cannot wait till you come back and play either the Doheny Blues Festival or anywhere else around here again, because we'd love to see you guys. So thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to thank... The what?
Acapella.
You want him to sing?
Will you guys sing an acapella song for you? You got that? Yeah. Let's hear it. If you want it, you got to ask for it. All right.
Okay, the guys will do this, and then the ladies will do.
Okay, here we go. You need to switch seats.
Okay, no, we don't. 1, 2. It's gonna be alright. Alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. I'm gonna be just fine. Alright, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright.
That's what happens. That's what happens on the Music Preserve stage, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure and follow us all on social media, right? Thank you very, very much. It's been wonderful to be a part of the Doheny Blues Festival.